The UFC is home to some of the best mixed martial artists on the planet, so it is no surprise that fans often debate how the elite fighters compare to one another. Alongside its weekly updated rankings for each weight class, the UFC has its own pound-for-pound rankings, containing 15 names, as with each list for every division. While there is no exact science to putting together lists such as this, a number of factors have been considered in making the rankings, including each fighter's overall record, recent record, level of activity, and caliber of opposition. Without further ado, here are our rankings. 10. Tom Aspinall, 14-3, interim heavyweight champion. Aspinall almost entered our rankings in November when he demolished Sergey Pavlovich to win the interim heavyweight title. But he finally got the nod this January, as a couple of other fighters fell out of the list. The Briton could do with a few more big names on his resume, but that is not in his control, much as he is trying to secure bouts with regular champion Jon Jones and divisional great Stipe Miocic. The 30-year-old's resume will improve with time, but what cannot be disputed is his talent. Aspinall is the future of heavyweight MMA, a remarkable athlete who moves like a lightweight while hitting like his predecessors. He also holds the record for the shortest average fight time for an athlete with 5 or more UFC bouts, and barring his early injury a fight with Curtis Blades, he has won them all. 9. Max Holloway, 26-7 featherweight, re-enters our rankings after his stunning stoppage of Justin Gaethje at UFC 300, one of the greatest knockouts in UFC history. After a previous failed endeavor at lightweight in 2019, featherweight icon Holloway returned to 155 lbs and beat up Justin Gaethje for 5 rounds. Then, with 10 seconds left on the clock, the Hawaiian called on Gaethje to trade hands in the center of the cage, risking the victory. What happened? Holloway face-planted Gaethje with 1 second left, claiming the baddest mother of **** air belt. And at 145 lbs, save for a trio of decision losses to Alexander Volkanovski, Holloway has been phenomenal for years, previously reigning as champion and recording wins over a who's who of featherweights. 8. Sean O'Malley, 18, won one-number contest bantamweight champion. Some fans accuse the UFC of fast-tracking Sugar Sean through the division because of his crossover potential, but O'Malley has done enough to justify the promotion's decision. There were missteps along the way to his bantamweight title win, a TKO by Marlon Vera in 2020, a no contest against Pedro Munhoz in 2022, and the American was perhaps lucky to be handed a decision win against ex-champ Peter Yan. 7. Ilia Topuria, 15-0, featherweight champion. The Georgian Spaniard spoke arrogantly about his chances against featherweight great Alexander Volkanovski in February, only for his words to prove prophetic. Topuria, 27, knocked out the Australian in brutal fashion in the second round, taking the 145 lbs title from Alexander the Great and becoming the first UFC champion to represent Spain or Georgia. That win also kept Topuria unbeaten, moving him to 15-0. El Matador's versatility is evidenced within his record too. 8 of his wins have come by submission, with 5 coming by knockout. There was much talk of his power ahead of his title fight with Volkanovski, and that talk was justified in the fight. Previously, Topuria showed his submission threat by tapping out grappling specialist Bryce Mitchell in 2022, before he outclassed Josh Emmett in every area of the game for a decision win in June 2023. 6. Dricus du Plessis, 21-2 middleweight champion. It is funny to think that the South African was derided not long ago, with many fans saying his bulldozing, almost ungainly style would derail him against the best fighters in the middleweight division. Instead, that style, as well as gradual improvements and investment in better cardio, partly through nasal surgery, have led du Plessis to the title. The 30-year-old won a narrow decision in a battle with Sean Strickland in January, making him South Africa's first UFC champion, and that followed a surprise TKO of ex-champ Robert Whittaker in July. Still Knox also holds wins over Darren Till, Derek Brunson, and Brad Tavares, is unbeaten in the UFC, and has secured 19 of his 21 wins via stoppage, with a near-even split of KOs and submissions. 5. Alexander Volkanovski, 26-4, featherweight. After suffering the first defeat of his professional career in 2013, Volkanovski won a stunning 22 fights in a row. In fact, his only pro losses had come against a welterweight champion and a lightweight champion until February, when he finally lost the UFC featherweight title. 2 of those defeats came in 2023, with Volkanovski losing a narrow decision to Islam Makhachev in February while challenging for the 155 lbs belt, then suffering a shock, early knockout against the Russian in their October rematch. Those results, the latter of which came after Volk stepped in on short notice, saw the Australian drop from number 1 to number 4 here. The 35-year-old now falls by one more spot after losing his 145 pounds belt to rising star Ilia Toria, who knocked out Alexander the Great in February. 4. Jon Jones, 27, 1-1 heavyweight champion. When Jones returned to the UFC in March after a 3-year absence, winning the heavyweight title by submitting Cyril Gane in the first round, many believed that the American confirmed himself as the greatest of all time. A lot of fans also felt that he should go straight to the top of any and all pound-for-pound lists. And Jones's victory certainly was impressive, particularly due to the manner in which it was achieved and the factors around the 36-year-old's heavyweight debut. It was also enough for the former two-time light heavyweight champion to shoot straight into our rankings at number 2. However, his lack of activity has seen him drop by 2 spots following his injury in October, which derailed his planned clash with heavyweight GOAT Stipe Miocic. That fight might get rebooked later this year, but a unification bout with interim champion Aspel could also be on the cards. 3. Alex Pereira, 10-2 light heavyweight champion. The Brazilian kickboxing extraordinaire enjoyed a rapid rise through the middleweight rankings after transitioning to MMA, culminating in a knockout victory of his old rival Israel Adesanya in November 2022 to take the title. Although Pereira was stopped by Adesanya to lose the gold in a rematch last April, he bounced back with a swift move up to light heavyweight, where he outpointed former champion Jan Blachowicz. In his next fight, Pereira fought for the vacant 205 LBS title, beating another ex-champion Jiri Prochazka to secure 2-weight champion status in record time. Pereira, 36, sealed that feat with a second-round TKO. He also holds a knockout win over former middleweight champion Strickland. Next up for Pereira was a title defense against his predecessor atop the 205 LBS division, Jamahal Hill, in the main event of UFC 300, a fight that Pereira won emphatically in round 1. 2. Leon Edwards, 22, 3-1 no contest, welterweight champion. Edwards became Britain's second UFC champion with a stunning last-gasp knockout of Kamaru Usman in August 2022. After taking down the Nigerian-American, something no fighter had ever done in the UFC. In round 1, Edwards continually rose to his feet amid an onslaught of grappling pressure from the champion over the next few frames, keeping himself in the fight. Then, with a minute left on the clock, Edwards knocked Usman out cold with a perfect head kick to take his gold. The Jamaican-born southpaw has won 12 fights in a row since a points loss to Usman in 2015, save for a no contest against Belal Muhammad in 2021. And Muhammad looks set to be Edwards' next challenger. 1. Islam Makhachev, 25, 1, lightweight champion. O'Malley used to question the Russian's credentials, given a lack of top-tier opponents on his record, though that was arguably due to highly ranked fighters' tentativeness to risk their spots against a dangerous up-and-comer. Others accused Makhachev of benefiting from his connection to Khabib, his childhood friend, and now one of Makhachev's coaches. Regardless, the 32-year-old banished any doubt in October 2022 when he submitted Oliveira to win the vacant lightweight title, suggesting that he would have done the same to most contenders at 155 lbs. Makhachev then made it 13 wins in a row by beating Volkanovski twice in 8 months, retaining his title against the then featherweight champion on both occasions. In February 2023, Makhachev outpointed the Aussie in Perth, and then in October he knocked him out with a head kick in round 1, stunning those in attendance. Volkanovski had stepped in on short notice for the rematch, but Makhachev was also affected by the late replacement, after Oliveira, his original opponent, suffered a cut over his eye. Those victories saw Makhachev rise to number 1 in our rankings. So that will be the end of today's video. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this one. Thanks for watching.